Last Sunday, on March 9th, 2014, I witnessed a very shocking event in a Swiss school when young Swiss children were forced to perform a satanic ritual for their parents in the audience, in which several Freemason symbols were used as the Mason skull and Baphomet of the Templars, another name for Satan, the devil. And look at the hands here. This was exactly what the young Swiss children did or had to do. And us, they didn't tell us anything about this. Exactly this. The right hand up, the two fingers. I'll show it to you in a minute. Unfortunately, I had only my old mini DV camera with me, having my HD cam to film the screen afterwards in order to upload. But we can clearly see the skull of death and how the child upholds the right hand with thumb and both index middle fingers stretched out, and similarly the left hand down, showing the same hand sign. So this is in a Freemason lodge here, and the skull was placed exactly the same way, in the same corner of the table and looking out diagonally over this corner here. Now you can see a bigger picture of this Freemason lodge, and the same things happening in Swiss schools. I witnessed it last week. Attention, for many people the following footage may be very graphic and disturbing. And remember how Switzerland was founded in the last year of the Crusades in 1291 on August the 1st, only 2.5 months after the fall of Aachen, the last stronghold of the Templars, on May 18th, 1291. The time to get back on horseback in those days. You can see those fingers again. And this is what I witnessed in a Swiss school. And it gets worse. This is terrible. And how the Templars were the first banks of Europe, without any doubt founded with the notorious Templars treasure brought into Switzerland from the pyramids in Egypt, with which the notorious Swiss Nazi Templar banks were founded. And maybe under Jerusalem there's a lot of tunnels, maybe there's a big pyramid underneath. Very likely. And this evil still lives in Switzerland in 2014, together with the worship of Baphomet of the Templars, of which I'll show you the disturbing images now. So here we can see the Swiss cross here too. These are Templars with the Templar V here, as I told you. Here's another V. These are all Swiss Templars. This is the heart of evil. Now look at this X here. Well, there's a lot more. So I'll show you the images now. Here we can see the child bringing in the skull here. And here, and the skull doesn't even play one part, one role in the entire story here. In the original story, not at all. This is my son within the play, and they put the skull just in front of his nose, where he's sitting later on. So for privacy reasons, and as it is concerning children, I put some tape here over their faces here. So here we can see the skull, and my son is just sitting here opposite the skull. So this gives me a creepy feeling, as we're already under attack and we get a lot of murder threats by the Swiss police and the Swiss Justice Department, and they cut off the leg of our cat, and we already kidnapped our other boy 12 years ago, whom I never saw again. Oh, there it is again within the play, and I've noticed it's always the diagonal in all those pictures in Freemason lodges. You know, it's the same corner where it's looking out, and it's always diagonal. And my son is sitting just opposite here. And so this thing doesn't play no role in the entire play. So it has been put here for entirely different reasons. I mean, this is bad. This is real bad. There's no talk about the death skull, it's just here on the table, as in a Freemasonry lodge. So these are the things happening in Switzerland. I wonder how many parents know about this, or how many parents have they told. So this is part of the play. Les choristes, les enfants de Monsieur Mathieu. They made a well-known movie out of it as well. The child was standing for ages with the right hand up, with the middle finger and the index finger up, and the other arm down, like the Baphomet thing. It was just standing there in front of my son, like obstructing his way. So this is the second time. First the skull in front of my son, and now this here. So these sort of things are happening in the base of evil, Switzerland. So, like this, she was standing for ages with my son behind. The two fingers up of the right hand and two fingers down of the left hand. As above, so below. Together with the death skull of the Masons. This gesture, this position had nothing to do with the entire play. Nothing at all. Here you see minutes later, still standing like this, taking the Baphomet position. And who she's standing in front of, well, there's only one person, that's my son. Again, first the skull, we're having all these these murder threats, and chopping off the foot of our cat, and now this here. Well, this is creepy stuff, you know, see it? The arm up and the two fingers standing for ages, like this here. Still in the Baphomet position. And here we can see Madonna doing the same thing here, as it's being done in Switzerland. I tell you, Skull and Bones, that's the reason why they speak German there, you know, because they are from Octagon, they're on all key positions. And this one is from Octagon as well, that's the origin. It's another Swiss sleeper agent called Madonna. And there it is again. You know, she's doing the wings here and the legs like this, you know, like just like this one here. Just as in the Swiss school, eh? Well, this is Switzerland, and it's evil, using deception as evil's biggest weapon, like portraying itself as clean, neutral and innocent, being in fact the very home of Octagon and Baphomet. The child shows the as above, so below of ancient Egypt and Hermes or Thoth. Therefore, it's no wonder that the entire name consists of demotic words giving the true meaning of the word very much in connection with the as above, so below. Ba is the soul when dead, and mer or meru is the Pharaonic word for pyramid. Therefore the name should be pronounced without the T at the end. As the early Templars were French, and in French the T at the end is not pronounced, coming to the exact pronunciation in Demotic. Then, in the middle, there is P, meaning to fly or heaven, also related to Pa, meaning to arrive. So the middle syllable, or heaven and fly, indicates the as above, whereas me, or pyramid, relates to the below. So ba, pa, me, or Baphomet, means the soul arrives in the pyramid with one hand pointing into the skies, as in P, and the other down, where the pyramid is indicating the action and voyage of the soul. But when doing so in a secret ritual and together with the skull of death, it represents a huge threat backed up by the oath of the two fingers up, which forms the Freemason oath. So the unmistakably threat here is a double one, with the skull representing the physical death only, and the Baphomet symbol the metaphysical death by sacrificing one's eternal soul on the altar of the devil. And for me as a father, it literally took my breath away when the skull was placed on the table right in front of my son, and the Baphomet gesture was done by someone standing right in front of him, obstructing his way, and even a laser light was pointed at him, only at him. And here in the play, so they put the skull in front of him and the Baphomet in front of him, and they pointed a laser at my son. So there's three things. So this is my son in the play, and they pointed the laser light only on him, only in a few seconds. It lasted only 5 seconds, and he told me too, they pointed the laser light on him. Now why is this? So you can see this laser light again, and this is my son with the flashlight behind. The Swiss are an incredible sneaky bunch, you know, and I see here 3 very strange things. So why do they do this? I mean, that's 3 too much, 3 too many. Now what's going on here? Well, these images don't lie, you know. My son is 13 years old now, as Osiris had been cut into 13 parts, and a lot of Templars were burned at the stakes on Friday the 13th of October 1307 in France. He is extremely gifted and can remember any number, no matter how long it is, and after having only had a quick glance of it. And these sort of things he's doing. Together with all the murder threats we're receiving from these Swissies and my other child who got kidnapped 13 years ago, this gets an increasingly creepy situation. The skull does not play any part of the play, neither the real story of Les Choristes, Les Enfants de Monsieur Mathieu, nor in this particular performance. So who would put the skull of death in front of these kids with no apparent reason? Who would do such a nasty thing? And then do the Baphomet satanic gesture just like that. I made a video of the entire event, but as I neither have the know-how nor the equipment to edit the short parts, I decided to use still images. Please, someone help. Well, this is Octagon, Switzerland, the heart of evil, where Baphomet, the devil, gets worshipped, and its people have a strong and united belief in the forces of darkness. This is the CERN here in Switzerland, and they might very well destroy the world, as they already did with the financing of wars and their banks. And I don't know what they are, but they're not like the rest of the world. This is something very strange, very different, and they're hiding in the Alps. They're hating everybody and showing all sorts of the immigrants like all sorts of animals, and I've never seen such a place as this here. Somebody do something before they destroy the world. Last Sunday, on March 9th, 2014, I witnessed a very shocking event in a Swiss school when young Swiss children were forced to perform a satanic ritual for their parents in the audience, in which several Freemason symbols were used as the Mason skull and Baphomet of the Templars. See a bigger picture of this Freemason lodge. And the same things happening in Swiss schools. I witnessed it last week. Attention, for many people the following footage may be very graphic and disturbing. And remember how Switzerland was founded in the line down, showing the same hand sign. So this is in a Freemason lodge here, and the skull was in the school was placed exactly the same way, in the same corner of the table and looking out diagonally over this corner here. Now you can. Unfortunately, I had only my old mini DV camera with me, having my HD cam to film the screen afterwards in order to upload, but we can clearly see the skull of death and how the child upholds the right hand with thumb and both index middle fingers stretch out, and similarly the left hand, another name for Satan, the devil. And look at the hands here. This was exactly what the young Swiss children did or had to do. And us, they didn't tell us anything about this. Exactly this. The right hand up, the two fingers. I'll show it to you in a minute.